It's not just anecdotal anymore. Official reports are out now that track online art sales in the first half of 2020. Online art sales have been actually rising during the pandemic. Collectors are buying art online like never before. Wait a minute. What? Where the heck are these people? What about me? Hi, I'm John, and this is Bogdan. In 2015, we gave up our day jobs and started our own freelance creative business. Join us on our journey as we figure out how to earn a living as artists, introduce you to those we meet, and share what we learn along the way. Listen, I didn't do a video last week. I apologize. We had a death in the family. My father passed away. He was 93 years old and had been suffering from cancer, lung cancer, for about 4 years. He just stopped eating a little over a month ago and slowly passed away. We worked with hospice. They were wonderful. He died with us there in the room with him. If it was a beautiful way to go. If you've got to die, that's the way to do it. So I was honored to know him. We had the death, as I say, a little over a week ago. We had the funeral and picked up his ashes yesterday. So it's been a traumatic experience for me and for the family. Just wanted to report that's where I've been. Getting back into the swing of things now. Today I think we've got a good presentation for you. I hope you'll like it. Please let us know.
Meet Mr. Money. He's a very important man in your life. He means a lot, not only to you, but to your family as well. He's always around when you need him most.
And I'm so stoked because the new report just came out this week from HISCOX, the global insurance company that underwrites Lloyd's of London and that crowd. They just released their online art trade report for 2020. It looks like they'll be publishing updates throughout the year since things with the pandemic are still so volatile. But the initial report is out and things look pretty damn good so far. Let me start off by saying that this report tracks the global art market, but at the top end. So everything in this report directly addresses that level of the market. The big galleries and auction houses like Christie's and Sotheby's and Phillips. Not so much struggling emerging artists in Houston, Texas. But hey, knowing what they know can only be good for us, right? So this report is good for us, but not written to us. I'll put a direct link to the full report in the notes section below. So there's been a steady increase in online art sales every year. And though that growth stalled a bit in 2019, there was still growth last year. And the first part of 2020 was not looking that much better until the coronavirus hit in March. In the foreword to the report by Robert Reed, the head of the Fine Art and Private Clients section, states that the pandemic has accelerated online sales growth. And some of the big houses are boasting a 436% increase this year compared to this time last year. The pandemic health response also heightened a real overdependence on traditional art market platforms like art fairs and gallery openings and auctions. People just can't attend those types of events these days. So online sales have shown a huge growth. But will that trend last? Reed also confirms that over half of the online platforms believe that it will outlast the pandemic and fundamentally change the way people buy art from now on. I hope you're taking notes. The other thing he points out is that the biggest global players are likely going to dominate the art market in the future. The 10 biggest galleries currently account for 68% of the total art market. And since they have the customer base and that market share and the infrastructure in place, they will likely only increase their importance as this new market shapes itself. So what else is in the report? Well, fine art still outsells other collectibles online. As we've discussed before, millennials tend to enjoy shopping online, and they're buying art. As galleries and auction houses increasingly target that demographic, we should expect to see more of a focus on this group of buyers. I'm guessing we should all start to think of ways to market online to millennials as well. Perhaps some of the marketing done from the big houses can trickle down our way. And the outlook is very positive. The report indicates that 80% of the online platforms are expecting online sales to increase further in the next 12 months. With all the closures, illness, and death, this sounds like a ray of hope in the darkness. Don't get me wrong, the COVID-19 pandemic will doubtless have many negative effects on the art world. Smaller galleries may still have to close. Individual artists may have slumps in sales. And art fairs and museum closures, that's hurting everyone. And of course, many of us may get sick, and some of us may even die. This is not a positive time, but it does appear to me that in this dark tunnel, there is a shaft of light. I also find it amazing that in a world so troubled and so uncertain, art is still of significant value to a frightened and changing world. So there will be those who go bankrupt or have too much overhead to maintain their businesses. And still others may get gobbled up by larger firms and new innovations and technologies. But we're going to get through this. We still have a product that people want to buy. Other interesting bits of the report suggest that individual artists should be actively promoting their work online through e-commerce platforms and through social media. It also cites that most online platforms have no intention of ever having a physical space. So don't think you need a studio to be competitive. The report also confirms that online sales are not restricted to cheaper items. People are buying online in the hundreds of thousands to $1 million range. So don't be afraid to post your higher priced works online. The report overwhelmingly suggests that having the price visible to online shoppers is key. Include the price. Such exciting stuff. Go check out the full report and let's all start talking about how to apply some of the trends from the big guys down at our level of the global art world. Best news I've had since this whole thing began. So I'm here in my comfy chair today, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the problem of how you go about finding a gallery, how you go about finding collectors. And there are various ways to do that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some strategies that you might use to kind of help find some of these people. But as I put the word out into the internet, asking some other people how they do it and looking for some advice from them, I keep getting the same responses that kind of surprised me. And that was, don't go looking for galleries, don't go looking for collectors, let them find you. Now that immediately sounds like a very, very bad idea because how are they going to find me? And I guess that's the point that I'd like to make. We need to be completely making ourselves available to those people who are looking for people like us. So yeah, there's some strategies you might take to go out and find these people and maybe drop them an email or send a newsletter. I think you have to get into the headspace of the collector. What is a collector doing? Collectors know exactly what they're looking for. They may be looking for emerging artists. They may be looking for mid-career artists. They may be looking for people who are more famous. And so if somebody's looking for somebody who is a famous, established artist, and I contact them, it'll mean nothing to them. They're not looking for me. So if I can find out ways to make myself visible to the people who are looking for emerging artists and abstract artists, then maybe I stand a better chance. Part of their collection criteria may be that they're going and looking at shows. It may be that they're looking online. It may be that they're looking on Instagram. It may be other combination of things. They may be looking through art agencies and through galleries. And I think it's important that we become visible where they're looking. Does my webpage is it updated? Does it have my latest, what I'm working on? Does it have correct and adequate contact information? Does it give my CV and my resume? Does it tell them what I've done, where I've been, what shows have I been in? Have I won any awards? Give them all the information they need to go to the next step. Okay, let's get serious. You're trying to find collectors, you're trying to find gallery owners, you're trying to find people, customers, who are going to buy your work. So we need to get pretty serious about how we're going to approach this. We talked a little bit about the fact that we mustn't forget that gallery owners and collectors are also looking for us. So we've got some responsibility to put ourselves out there. But how do we go about seeking them? So I've got a few ideas. First of all, know how you're going to organize yourself. If you haven't already done this, you probably should. Are you going to use some sort of CRM program? Are you going to use a spreadsheet, index cards? What are you going to do with all the information that you're gathering? Because this is a long-term process. Who is it that you're looking for? Not only is it a gallery owner or a collector, but what kind of collector? Are we talking about a millennial? Are we talking about somebody who's got retirement money they're spending? Are we talking about people who are abroad? Are they here locally? Are they in your town? Who are you trying to reach? Now, you can have multiple answers to those questions, but you need to probably approach them in different ways. And one of the things you need to know about them is, where do they hang out? If you're looking for wealthy matrons, go into the events at the museum probably makes the most sense. Showing up at big, important gallery events where you know these people are going to frequent. Get yourself seen. Even if you don't meet a person, you start seeing the same people at the same events, they start seeing you. And at some point, that introduction becomes easier. We've been doing that for the last, 3 years? Here in Houston, we've been working through the Photo Fest, and we did some volunteering. We show up at everything that's photo related, and it's a pretty small group of people. We start seeing the same faces. Well, then we did some volunteer work for Photo Fest this year, and they placed us at the sign-in table for the VIP event. Well, that meant that all the VIPs who we've been seeing over and over and over at these events had to come up and speak to us to get their badge and their entry. So all of a sudden, we're making contact with people. They think they know us, we think we know them because we've seen them at so many events. So that's starting to make sense. Again, I think it's really, really important that you spend the right amount of time on the right people. Now, I got to say, I've changed my mind about this. I've gone into, because one of the things I love to do is go into galleries. First of all, I want to see the beautiful art. I want to see what's out there, what's selling, what people are doing. Secondly, I want the gallery owners and gallery employees to start to recognize me as well, so that they see that I'm a part of the art world in Houston, and it doesn't hurt, right? Now, pretty much instantly, when they find out that I'm an artist, they approach me differently in a gallery. And at first I thought that was kind of conceited, but it's not. They know that they're going to treat a collector differently than they're going to treat a visiting artist. because they know that I'm not going to buy a painting. They know that I'm not going to buy an expensive piece of art. I can't afford it. And that's fair. It just is. It's just fair. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to, in a non-creepy, non-stalky sort of way, you're going to have to start to build a dossier on people you're interested in meeting, or kinds of people that you're interested in meeting. You have to find out where they hang out. You have to be a part of the art community in your area so that people know you. Because what will happen is after people start to see you a few times, they're going to ask somebody, who is that? I see him all the time. Now, whoever that is they ask needs to know who you are too. So if that's the curator at the museum, if that's the gallery owner, if that's the artist who's having the exhibition, you need to make sure that your name gets out there as well. You need to volunteer for things, you need to show up for things, you need to be a part of that art community. If you can get press. Get something in the newspaper, in art magazines, in art journals. You want to leave a trail so that people who are interested in you can look at you and go, yes, this person is at least emerging, if not mid-career, and that this person has arrived on the scene artistically, that they have a body of work that is worth collecting. They're going to go somewhere, and I feel like I know them. Those are the things collectors are looking for. And so those are the things we need to provide them. Look at the people you know already. Who are those people that you have relationships with, even if they're only small? What are you doing to build those relationships in addition to looking for new names and new prospects? Don't let those relationships die. You don't know where they're going to go and how important they're going to be to you down the line. What influencers do you know? Do you know people who have podcasts? Do you know people who do have vlogs and who are big bloggers? People who can actually get your name out there, or people who are on the board at the local art cooperative or gallery owners. Who do you know and how are you building those relationships? Don't forget, when you're looking for new people, don't forget the people you already know. Now, where do you go to look for people you've not met? You're just really fishing. Well, you go onto chat groups, you go online, you find on Facebook they have all kinds of groups you can join. You start to go to the influencers and the people who are out there, and you follow them and you start to comment on them. You find their live streams and you find ways to ask questions, and you find ways to, I notice people who do that. They notice you too. So the more you can be a part of those communities, the better. You can find very, very niche communities as well. I often take a look at when I go to an art event, they'll give out a little brochure, and in the back they'll have all the benefactors or all the board members. And I will look through and get those names and put them into my database, because those are the people I need to know. Now, it may take me forever to figure out who they are, but if I find out that Mr. Smith works at this law firm, I can check out their law firm's website, and I can see that their law firm contributes heavily to Habitat for Humanity in Houston. Now, maybe I can show up at a Habitat for Humanity Houston meeting or event, and they start to see me in different contexts than they see me at art events. Is it sneaky? No, you're not being creepy, you're not stalking them, but you're starting to say, if I know where you hang out, and I start to hang out there, the chances of us developing some sort of relationship is much, much higher. We all know this from dating. Don't pretend like you didn't do this when you were dating. And I remember Paul Klein spoke quite a bit about how you should build these relationships as though you were dating. You don't want to come on too strong. You don't want to be creepy. And you don't want to sound desperate. We all know that. If you go up to somebody you've never met and say, "Would you like to be my friend? Can I come over?" They run away from you, and well, they should.
Don't, please.
It's a dance.
What
it's a
is?
bit of a relationship. It may take years to develop. It may never develop. But you put yourself in a situation where you can develop that relationship. Once you start to do that, realize that the people who are looking for artists are then going to be able to see you. And it's a much better way than just hounding people with leaflets and flyers and newsletters. I think newsletters are okay. I think occasional emails, if they're direct and specific, are totally appropriate. But if you're starting to spam people, and you know what you do with spam mail, you throw it out. So don't fall into that trap. So anyway, those are my bits of advice, the things that I've gleaned. Good luck going out there. Be happy to connect with you guys in any way I can, and find your own communities if not. If you want to join us, that's grand. Let's get out there and start building some relationships. I'd like to call your attention to a program that I'm participating in that I just think is marvelous. I think I've mentioned it in previous videos. It's called Proyectos de Residencia, and it's an online residency program out of Mexico City with the artist Michael Swank, who is in charge. He had a residency program there in Mexico City, but it had to get kind of closed down because of COVID-19. So he's actually now spread out and done this online, which was a novel concept to me, and I didn't quite know how that was going to work. But what we do is we get together virtually by Zoom and by emails and Messenger, and I get lots and lots of attention from Michael, one-on-one, some real support, some mentoring, education. He has group activities where we will get together and just all be working in the same room, even though we're all on Zoom. We will have cocktail parties. He's doing exhibitions. He's doing interviews with the various members of the group. I just think it's a really, really great idea. It's a lovely community. It's queer friendly, and I just think it's a wonderful experience for me because it is just about me and my art. I don't have to perform. I can be myself. I can be honest with this group of people who are at various levels in their artistic careers and get some support and spend some real time focusing on me and my art. I just think it's a great idea. It's very inexpensive, and I challenge you, go take a look and see if it might be something for you too. Again, it's called Proyectos de Residencia, and it's in Mexico City with Michael Swank. Take a look. I think you'll like it. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, share this link with everybody you know, and help us out on Patreon if you can. And let us hear from you, because we want to upload the kind of content that you want to see. And if you're a wealthy art collector, please feel free to find Bogdan and I online and buy up our entire portfolio. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye. What are you doing? Why are you tearing up my room? Hey, get after me. Hey. What? Thank you, kitty.